Question. Same market, same week. One home sells in 5 days, the other doesn't. What's usually the real differences between those two listings?
All right, when you got two similar properties both on the market at the same time, one sells while the other sits, to be honest, sometimes it's just luck. And you don't always know what the buyer is going to come and appeal to. But in a larger perspective, it usually comes down to value. And value, yes, is tied to price, but it's also tied to the way the property presents itself, what kind of condition it's in. I was talking about this earlier with a client about how things like clean windows or shiny floors and clean countertops, nothing in the sink, putting in the little extra detail. When a buyer walks in that door, they can tell if that seller has put in the extra effort to make that home shine for them. And it can be the exact same home as one up the street, and the buyer's experience of walking in and going through that home between the two can be very different.
How much of this comes down to pricing versus how buyers perceive value when they first see a home?
Well, price versus perceived value, it's about the perceived value. And so you can add value by lowering the price or by increasing the features and benefits or the appeal of the home. When it comes to adding value to your property or having that perceived value higher for that buyer that's going to walk through the door, it really comes down to how you present. It can be as simple as going out and purchasing some crisp white linens and towels to have throughout the property, removing all of those family photos and putting up some nice decor, getting a few select pieces to really make it stand out. A lot of times buyers will walk through a home and they don't know what it is about that home that just makes it feel right. And really what it is, it's that the seller or the seller had somebody come in and help them prepare that in a way that it would appeal right to that buyer's emotions.
Why are the first 7 to 14 days on market so critical to whether a home sells quickly or starts to sit?
The beginning of the marketing period of a home is the most impactful and most important not to get wrong, because that's when the home gets the most attention. It's new, it's fresh, people haven't seen it before, and especially when we're doing marketing and presenting it, that's when it's exciting. People want to see it. And if we miss the mark from the start and make changes later on to try to adjust for things that may have been missed, there's fewer eyeballs, there's fewer people that care, and the general perception as a house sits on the market longer is that there must be something wrong with it. And buyers make that assumption. They wonder, well, if other people didn't buy it, maybe there's something wrong. Maybe we should avoid it as well.
How do things like condition, staging, photos, and prep affect buyer urgency even when two homes are similar on paper?
When you're thinking about how your property presents itself, you really need to put yourself in the shoes of the buyer. And if that property shows well and they like it, in the back of their mind, they're thinking, well, if we like it, there's a good chance that somebody else will like it. And it's going to increase the sense of urgency for them to offer and act and move quicker than otherwise. If they walk in and they're not excited about it and they're like, oh, we don't really like it, so no one else will really like it, so maybe we should just wait on this one. We'll see, maybe they'll bring a price reduction, and then they start to forget about it. Let's talk about the three most important factors when selling your property: location, location, location. Well, actually not really. That advice goes back years ago. But what is important is that your location is reflected in your price. You can't change a location, but you can make sure that you're priced appropriately. Because we've all seen the house that's in poor condition that backs onto the train tracks and is next to the highway, and it sells. So it's not all about location, it's about value. So make sure that you're taking into account what could be either a challenging location or leveraging a perfect location.
What do buyers assume when a home doesn't sell early? And how does that perception affect future offers?
So when buyers look at a property that's been sitting on the market for a while, it's no different than if you're out shopping for clothes and the stuff that's been sitting around for a while, you expect it to go on sale, right? It's the same thing when it comes to real estate. The longer that a home is on the market, the less the buyer wants to pay. They're waiting for that sale price to come out, or they're waiting to put in that lowball offer.
If a seller wants their home to be the one that sells quickly, what decisions do they need to be willing to make upfront?
So as a seller and you're looking at where do we price a property, because it's not an exact science, there is always a range. But when it comes to hitting that right price, asking more does not mean you get more. You got to get a professional in like myself to meet with, take a look at your property, see it through their eyes, an objective third party, give an accurate assessment of the property itself, but also look at your situation. What's your timeline? And come up with a plan. When will the property present itself the best? Like what timing of year? We'll look at that. We'll also look at what the market is expected to do. Is inventory building, going down? There's so many factors that come into it, and an experienced pro will be able to coach and guide you for ultimate success.